agree.
with it.
And I agree with you.
He
should have caught the moment for the game tying game. Like he should have caught that. No doubt about it. I agree with you on that. And I agree with you on the fumble he had in the beginning of the third quarter or whatever like that.
That's okay. To go to the Cowboys for a comparison. Just because
I didn't just go to the Cowboys. See?
Why do you always come to the Cowboys?
This is a Cowboy thing with you. This is a Cowboy thing with you. I didn't just say the Cowboys. I say he's a better football player than anyone on the Cowboys or the Patriots combined.
Why did you feel that?
Because he is. Because he's a better football player than anyone on the Cowboys or Patriots.
He's a better player than every single person on the New England Patriots.
Did I not just say that 3 times, Logan?
But you went to the Cowboys. You could have said the Patriots.
Oh, my God.
I would say you could say the Raiders, but you can't.
Jay, are you not listening to me? I just said 3 times Mark Andrews is a better player than anyone on the Cowboys and Patriots combined. 3 times I said that to you, Jay.
You'd have to the Cowboys.
Let the record show.
You could have said Cleveland Browns.
Oh God,
he is too.
Look, he had I think it's 11 or 12 touchdowns, which was tied for 4th in the league, I believe. So I mean, do you think the snow played a factor? Was it nerves? Was it the snow? Was it just a mix of everything?
There wasn't that much snow. Don't say snow because there was
not
that much snow. There was not that much snow than most people.
There's still snow on the field though.
Was it snowing at that moment?
But they also had wind. They had snow and they had wind. And
I'm not saying that's the main factor, obviously.
If they were
because it hit him right in the hands. It wasn't like it was to the left or to the right. That was right in the breadbasket.
If that game was in Philadelphia, then maybe I'll say weather was a factor. But no, hell no. Because now I'm going to side with Jay. Now I'm going to side with Jay. You had that shit in your hand. You had that shit in your hand.
Wait, hold on, Frankie. Now, neither quarterback even got to 200 yards. So that tells you that the weather was a factor because they made it more of a run game than they did a passing game. So you got to think that the weather did have a factor. Not all of it, but there was a good amount of factorability there.
There was still, there was still snow on the ground. You could see them running through it. It wasn't like a frozen tundra or anything like that.
Well, everybody in the NFL Network and ESPN were all like, "Oh, weather's going to be a crazy factor with the snow coming in." What snow? The snowflakes that were crumbling on the grass. I want to see a snow game like it was at Philadelphia where we don't even see the numbers on the field. All right, we were still able to see the numbers on the field. We were still able to see green grass on the field. I don't want to hear that weather because it's also cold in Baltimore. Weather's never a factor when it comes to Baltimore.
If you're a running back and you got snow, look, it had to be a lot of snow. It just has to be enough for them to not get a good footing on the field. You can't tell me they're making the cuts that they would normally make in that kind of weather. No. That was a very tough game from a lot of standpoints. It didn't have to be a blizzard, but that snow did have an effect on a lot of things.
Oh my God!
No.
Just look at it. Look at the stats and tell me that snow didn't have an effect on that game.
It didn't. These are two teams. These are two teams. This is two teams that have an outdoor stadium that literally are not that far from each other. They both deal with weather situations every goddamn January.
Wait. The Rams don't deal with that kind of weather.
We're not talking about the Rams. This is Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Stop turning into Joe Biden right now. The inauguration ruined you this morning. The inauguration ruined you. You looked at Joe Biden too much. Now you're turning into him.
Oh no, I didn't know we moved on to the Buffalo game. I'm sorry. I was still on the Rams. I was still.
You were just talking about Mark Andrews.
Who should think Mark Andrews played for?
What is going on with Jay today?
Man, I'm sorry. I've been drinking too much Kool-Aid.
It's 2 p.m. Okay, so when you look at the stats for Baltimore and for Buffalo, all right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen, 16 of 22, 127 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 1 sack for 1 yard. Lamar Jackson, 18 to 25, 254, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, 2 sacks for 14 yards. Also, the Ravens had 3 fumbles. 2 of those were lost. 1 of those was recovered. When you look at the defense, sacks-wise, Baltimore only got 1. Buffalo got 2. However, Buffalo got 7 tackles for loss.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, if you look at that, Josh Allen had a very un-Josh Allen.
Josh Allen looked like Jalen Hurts.
Yes, I mean, he didn't even have a passing touchdown. He barely scratched over 100 yards passing.
Which, to be fair, and I said it in our preview, if James Cook would have a decent game, which I mean, he didn't have nearly as good of a game as he did the previous week, but he was, I guess you could say, steady in a way. He went 17 carries, 67 yards, just under 4 yards an average, right? Which is not great, but it's not awful. Yeah. But as a team, Buffalo ran the ball 36 yards for 147 with 3 touchdowns, 2 coming from Josh Allen on the ground and 1 coming from Ray Davis. So while Allen didn't have any passing touchdowns, he did get 2 rushing touchdowns.
I felt like they should have ran. I feel like Baltimore should have ran the ball more with Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry didn't even get 20 touches. He only got 16 carries for 84 yards.
Yeah, especially when he's averaging 5.3 in the game. And it's I mean, I think I would have gave him the rock a lot more. Now, Hill did have a pretty good one as well.
Hill did good as a backup.
6, but, I mean, as a team, they were 5.9 and 30 carries. But I felt like had they given Derrick Henry a little bit more bigger portion of those carries, that he would have eclipsed that 176 and more, you know.
And just looking at like Henry on the season, that wasn't his lowest total carries of the year, because there's some games where he got anywhere from like 11 to 13 to 15. So I mean, he's had games like that before, but I think they just decided to go and pass the ball more with Lamar, who was having more success than Josh Allen,
right,
in the passing game at least. But just like we said prior, one team was going to move ahead, one team was going to be disappointed, and that team is Baltimore once again. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the week. Once it's kind of a low period after this, because we don't got a whole lot of football left, and there's not a whole lot of other sports right now. But yeah, that's just the drop game, right? I mean, I'm looking at the clip right now, and very easy catchable ball. It was in his hands, right? Some might argue, a little bit low because it was at like his hips, but it's in your hands and it just bobbled, right? There is no. It was a few. He had to reach behind him to catch it. He had to dive. Nah, just went through the hands. Plain as that. But tough loss for Baltimore, and I think this is the 3rd or 4th meeting now with Kansas City and Buffalo. So maybe this will do it. Hell if I know. Kansas. Also, I didn't bring it up earlier, but Kansas City are going to their 7th straight championship game. Yeah, 7th straight. Which, I mean, God, Frankie, how many did y'all go to? I just don't know. How many did y'all go to in a row? Because I know obviously you know how many championships y'all won.
We have the record right now. 8 straight AFC championships.
Yeah, so they're just one behind. Everyone says they're the new dynasty, but hell, they're not there yet, right? But they're on the heels. Can't deny that they're on the heels.
I don't know how many times Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes has seen each other in the playoffs, but this is the second time. This is the second time they're actually facing each other in the AFC Championship game. We all know the first game how that happened. And
hey, Frankie, you gonna like this? Is Allen and Mahomes the brand new Manning and Brady?
Yeah. I said this a while back. I said this a couple of years ago.
Because they're both wildly successful, right?
Yeah.
One more than the other, because Brady would always beat Manning. It wasn't until
back then people used to say that comparison of Brady and Manning with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. But we've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen it's not Burrow, it's Allen.
Yeah, it's Josh Allen, definitely. And
I mean, the Bengals had just that one good run.
There's always those quarterbacks. There's always those quarterbacks in a time era where you see something like that,
And I mean, I love Joe Burrow. I think he's a great quarterback. He's just on a very subpar team. There's no question about that. All right. Well, Jake, I know you got the predictions that we had for this past weekend. So if you don't mind, go ahead and read those out, and we'll see how we did for the divisional round. We didn't have the show during the wild card, so we're going to do we're starting with the divisional. We'll do the championship one a little bit later in the week, obviously, since we've got a few days to kill here. So let Jay get that pulled up, and we'll see how all we did.
We should do our wild card picks now. I think I can go perfect.
1, 2. Gonzo's 50-50 at 2-2.
Okay.
He won on Buffalo and KC and lost on the Rams in Detroit.
Okay.
I went 2 for 2 as well. I lost on the Texans and the Rams, but I won on Washington and Buffalo. Tony won on KC and Philly and lost on Detroit and Baltimore.
So 3-way tie.
Mike won on KC and Washington, but lost on the Rams and Ravens. And then Frankie lost every single game, but won on KC.
Oh, 1 and 3.
So KC, so he was 1 for 4. And then Logan, and I'm gonna come back to Logan. Austin was also 1 for 4. And then Logan, you won, man. You lost on the Detroit game, but you won on all the other 3. So you were 3 and 1. A lot of us were 2 and 2.
Yep.
And Frankie and Austin were the losers that have won.
Logan's a cheat. It's not fair to.
No, hey, look. To be fair, I hit up our boy Big Glenn. You know, he went to go get the Powerball the other day. I'm sure he's swimming in dough right now with the luck this man has. But
yeah, I'm sure.
No, it's not fair. Logan works at a radio station. I'm sure they be getting like some inside analyst up in there and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because I'm sure all those the staff members are going to come to Gainesville, Georgia.
Logan could have won a perfect. He could have won a perfect 4-0. He's like, you know what?
I said let's leave one out just cause.
He just get one loss.
Just to show some humbleness. All right, we'll keep it with some football, but we know, that the NFL was yesterday and Saturday. Today is a big day, guys. Today is the first ever college football playoff national championship in the 12-team format between the number 8 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes coming in at 13-2 on the year versus the number 7 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are 14-1. Kickoff is going to be at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN or wherever the hell you can find it. Currently, and Chris, you'll be proud of me for this one, the spread is Ohio State at 9 under.
Wow.
The over-under, or the total points, is over 45.5. So they're expecting a high-scoring game in this one. But, actually, no, if you think about it, 45.5, that's only about, 23 points per team? Give or take?
That's like 27, 24.
Yeah, okay. But, I mean, this is a tough matchup. So I think let's just break down each team first, and then we'll do a final prediction. So let's just start with the Ohio State Buckeyes, talk about what you like about them, and maybe what their weak point is, and how the other team can exploit.
Jay, what do you like about the Ohio State Buckeyes?
We got to break them down.
Look, I hate Ohio. Everybody knows I hate Ohio. Okay, I hate.
I wonder why.
And my hate just doesn't become because we obviously lost to them. My hate has been there since day one, way back when we were still in the Big 12. I just have never liked Ohio State. I also have never liked Notre Dame either. I'm a Scottish person. I have no Irish roots. I'm not Catholic. I'm Baptist. So.
Yeah.
I'm
Notre Dame, and I don't moral like the compass.
Fact that they get to pick their schedule. Like they can pick their strength of schedule, right?
And as long as they have a great record, basically.
I'm just saying that you get to handpick it a little bit nicer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, look, they're there. We're not. So it is what it is. I like the toughness of Ohio. I got to give these guys credit. I've never liked their passing game, but I absolutely love their tenacity. I think Ryan Day has prepared these guys to withstand the task of even when you're down, you're not out. I think he's done a great job with that. I think Howard has done an amazing job. The guy's almost at 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. I mean, you love to see that type of ratio because, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot, but neither does Leonard. But the problem is Leonard only has about half the amount of touchdowns, but he only has 8 interceptions, which that ratio is not nearly as good as 33-10, but it's still a good ratio. I mean, you're still way ahead of the game. You're still above 50%, so you're okay. And then you look at the run game of Henders at 139 carries or 132 carries at 967 at 10 touchdowns. I think you could have been better there because your boy Love for Notre Dame did it at 159 for 1122 and 17 touchdowns. So I got to give the run game to Notre Dame, but I give that passing game to OSU. But I just like the toughness. I know you asked me, what do I like about Notre Dame? I like the toughness. I like the discipline. And I like the execution that Ohio State is giving you. And it shows, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just read through the quarterback stats from the last 3 playoff games because I feel, like I said, regular season, that's fine. And we know, obviously both these teams can play some very easy competition at some points during the season. Notre Dame more so than Ohio State. You could easily say, I mean, when you look at who Notre Dame faced this year, they played Texas A&M to start the year. They played Louisville, who was ranked. They played Navy, who was ranked. And I believe they played Army, who was ranked. I mean, hell, they played 2 military schools. They,
Right.
who both had good years, no doubt about that. But I mean, they're not going to compare.
Notre Dame did take out your Bulldogs.
No, they did. But
I mean, I'm just saying.
But that's also to the point
there.
too. No, because that's also to the point of, like you said at the beginning, of they kind of get to pick their own schedule. And regular season, yeah, you do in a sense. But the postseason, it's whoever the hell you got. But they've shown that even if they did have a lower tier schedule of the regular season, that they can turn it up in the postseason and get the job done.
Yeah. You know what I like about this 12-team format that I really wasn't 100% sure on is the fact that, the top 4 ranked teams back in the day, they got knocked out super quick.
Yeah, all the teams that had a bye week got knocked out.
Teams. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of goes to show you that even though you could be a conference champion, doesn't mean that you're still the best in the league. And I think this 12-team format kind of shows that.
So looking at the quarterbacks here, Will Howard in these 3 games has been probably the most impressive quarterback throughout the entire college football playoffs. In 3 games, he has 6 touchdowns, only 2 picks. He's only been sacked twice. He's thrown for 311 against Tennessee, 319 against Oregon, who was number 1, and 289 against Texas. But what I like, too, is the completion percentage was very good. 82% against Tennessee, 65.4 against Oregon, and then 72.7 against the Longhorns. I mean, you can't ask for a much better, 3-game slate than that. You mentioned the running game with Henderson and with Judkins. I mean, that's a really good duo, too. But you have the fact that Howard is playing out of his mind right now because he's had 2 300-yard games in 3 games, and during the regular season, he only had 1 game where he threw for over 300. So, I mean, he's hitting his peak at the right time. Now, when you compare that to Riley Leonard, he's had a decent performance, but not nearly as impressive. He's been sacked a total of 6 times in those 3 games, so you can give the advantage of the Ohio State, who has had a lot of injuries to the O-line as well, but they've still maintained it regardless.
Yeah.
Also with Leonard, he like I say, he doesn't pass the ball a whole lot. 223, 90, and then 201. Right. He only got you 3 passing touchdowns and 3 picks in those 3 games. But when you look at the running, though, 35 yards, 80 yards, 30 yards, but he's gotten you 2 touchdowns. So it's not, Lamar Jackson out there, but he can run if he needs to. As opposed to Howard, who does not really run the ball much at all. So it just kind of depends. But look, to be real, though, the offense is fine. It's which defense is going to hold up. I mean, because hell, half the guys on both these teams are going to be drafted in the 1st and 2nd round in the next year or 2.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think just whichever defense is the toughest tonight, that's who's going to win. If Will Howard can have a decent game, I think Ohio State wins it. But I think if the Notre Dame defense shows up, like we've seen against all the teams they faced pretty much throughout the whole season, that they'll take that one. Because, I mean, just looking at Notre Dame, looks like the most points they've allowed this season was against USC, and that was 49-35. They won that game. And that was the last game of the regular season, I think. So, I mean, 35 points, but other than that, everything's, 20s and below. So,
yeah,
They got a really good defensive ball club for sure.
I feel like if Notre Dame is going to have a shot, because let's be honest, even though Ohio is ranked number 8 and Notre Dame 7, Ohio is still the highly favored opponent in this game, and
Correct.
Notre Dame is still the underdog. I think if Notre Dame wants to be taken seriously as a school, the fact that they pick their own schedules and things like that, and they want to be independent of everybody else, if they want to be taken seriously and if they want to make serious headways, this is the game to freaking do it. I mean, this is a huge game. They have got to come out. Notre Dame has got to come out and slap Ryan Day square in his fucking jaw, and then they got to take Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard, yeah.
Right up off the rip. I mean, they have got to make a statement right in the opening drive just to set the tone and keep Ohio and Ryan Day on their heels. They've got to come out and they've got to slap them. They got to play tough, physical football because that's exactly what Ohio is going to do. And if they want to have any chance in this game, they got to match the defensive intensity and the physicality, and they got to make a statement right from the jump.
Frankie, we haven't gotten your thoughts, man. What do you think about both these teams in Ohio State and Notre Dame?
Oh,
he's got to get his earpiece in. He's getting critical information from the higher ups.
He's talking to New York as we speak.
Yeah. He's got his agent on the phone.
Listen, I'm an Alabama fan. I absolutely hate Ohio State, right? I'm just like Jay. I hate Ohio State. And Jay and Logan, I'm pretty sure you guys know, like, I've been riding behind Notre Dame for quite some time now. Like, Jay, we made a bet one time that, because I picked Notre Dame, I ended up having to wear a shirt because they disappointed me that one year. I'm actually riding behind Notre Dame today really hard. I'm so excited for this game. But the reason, if you guys see me, I'm shaking my head when Jay's talking at that last moment. It's not going to happen. Listen, I'm picking Notre Dame to win this. And the reason for it is because what I've seen last week and what I've been seeing all season long is Jay's right. Ohio State is going to come out on fire. They always do. They're going to come out. They're going to hammer down on you. They're going to score some points. They always do that. We've seen it do it with them last week with Texas, right? It happened.
Yeah.
But what happened in the second half? They start off on fire, but then they lose momentum when they think that they got the advantage on you. And then when you lose the momentum, it doesn't work in your favor. Texas came out almost on top. Almost. Yeah. And I was behind your Texas, man, because you were behind my Yankees during the World Series and stuff like that. I was behind you, man. I was sad for you. But once you guys lost, I had to turn my ways and I had to rub it in your face a little bit. That's just me. I'm sorry.
Because you're a prick.
But when I seen that happen, and I seen the way Notre Dame plays, we've seen it all season long. Notre Dame is not a start-off fire team. No. But what they are is a great comeback from behind, and I'm going to win this game type of team. And I think that's what's going to happen today. I think Ohio State's going to come out on fire. Everybody's going to expect Notre Dame to come back with some answers. We're not going to see answers just yet. I'm pretty sure what Notre Dame is going to try and do is see what Ohio State's going to come out and bring to them. Learn a little bit. Learn for the first quarter. It's okay if you score 3 points, 6 points, whatever, get some field goals, but learn it, right? And then in the second half, they're going to understand it, and they're going to come out in the second half with some answers for Ohio State. It's going to be a really good game. I hope it's not a blowout game that we've seen what Georgia's been doing before or something like that.
Agree.
I want to see a really good game, and I think we're going to between these two.
I want to be on the edge of my seat, Frankie. I don't want to be like,
that's what we're going to get, Jay. And that's what I'm trying to say is Ohio State's going to come out on fire. They're going to, they're going to do what they got to do in the first half. But Notre Dame is that come behind team, and we're going to have that moment like, oh God, this game's over by halftime. But then by the third quarter, we're like, oh well, here comes Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We're going to get that game tonight, boys. And it's going to be Notre Dame. Final score, 27-24.
Close game. That's what I want to be.
On that. I'm going to go Notre Dame, too. And I think it will be I think it's going to be about a field goal differential. So I'll go 21-24 in favor of Notre Dame.
I'll be the outlier. I'll go with Ohio State. I'll go final score 28-24.
Yeah. All right.
So we're all pretty much in agreement with the score right around that range, but
it's just who you have.
It's just who you think is going to win. And I think the main thing too is the coaching, particularly the halftime adjustments, because that's a big factor in college. We see if you give up a big touchdown at halftime, but if you come out in the third quarter and you score back to back, that momentum could really help out. I mean, you look at what Notre Dame did against Georgia, right? In the start the third quarter, after halftime, they had that kick return touchdown, and that just kind of sucked all the momentum out. They had that touchdown before the half, and then they came back and scored again. And I mean, at that point, it was pretty much a game over point at that point. But it's going to be a good game, I think. I want it to be a good game. I don't want a blowout. I don't want
Jay, did you write
Georgia
these down?
TCU.
Jay, did you get your pen and paper and write these?
Just write down who you think's going to win. You don't. Yeah.
If Logan comes out,
me and Frankie got Notre Dame, and you got Ohio. I mean, that's already.
If Logan comes out on top of this game, he's never allowed to pick teams again because this is a undercover radio analysis type thing that he's doing. What was your final score?
Hold on. So Logan, I got you down for Ohio, but what was your score again? 28-24?
Yes. Let's say we don't have to get. I don't think if we get the scores right, that's just a cherry on top.
Who gets closest to the score too, though? That's why I'm writing it down. And then Frankie, what was your? I know you got you down for Notre Dame. What was your score?
27-24.
27-24.
And I picked 21-24. So that should be interesting.
Damn, okay. 24.
That's just a lucky number. Someone better get 24.
I think it's going to be in the 20s.
Get 24. Yeah. If someone gets 24, I'm going insane. And I'm going to go on the group. I'm going on the group message.
Hey, Frankie. You know what's funnier than 24, right?
25.
Attaboy. Thank you for getting that. All right, we're going to switch it over to a little bit of baseball action here. We all get to rant now against the Los Angeles Dodgers and their free agency pickups. I found a list, and this is on FoxSports.com. I don't know if this is complete, but this is what they've got. This is the most comprehensive one I've seen so far. All their signings in free agency so far, gentlemen. Are you ready?
Oh, let's go.
Michael Conforto and Blake Trinan back on December 8th. 2 years, $22 million, 1 year, $17 million. All right. Not too bad. In terms of money-wise, it is what it is. Then they get Teoscar Hernandez, 3 years, $66 million. However, they then sign Ha-Seong Kim, 3 years, $12.5 million. Then they made a trade. It don't matter at that point. Keep going, keep scrolling. They got a trade here. Where's the big money? I know we're coming up on it soon. Yep. They signed Roki Sasaki. The deal for that has not been disclosed, but he is going to be coming to the team eventually. January 19th, yesterday, they get Tanner Scott, 4 years, $72 million, for one of the best closers actively. Does it ever end?
What can we do, Jay? Jay, what can we do?
Does it ever end?
We could end up being the best team in the AL, but what can we do?
Who cares about that? I have to face them more than y'all do in the NL.
Yeah. Here's my thing.
I have to meet them in the championship series.
5 aces and a closer, right? 5 aces and a closer. But out of the 5 aces, 2 to 3 of them are injury prone. So my answer to you on your question, Frankie, is we just got to wait for the injury bug to come into play, and then we'll level out the playing field at that point. Hopefully. And again, I firmly believe in reverse curses. So I believe everybody on the LA Dodgers will remain healthy, and they will destroy the league and kick ass in the playoffs. And if you believe in reverse curses like I do,
you know how mad I'm gonna be if that ends up like actually happening, and like they end up kicking the league's ass and then going into the playoffs and just going. I'm gonna come back and say, Jay, this is your fault for your reverse psychology.
Hey, and if that's the case, I'll take the heat for it, Frankie. But I really believe in reverse cursing. And I'm waiting for that to fully happen. All I need is them to get on like MLB Magazine or something like that, and then you know the curse is in full effect.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean I'm just tired of it. If there was a word to describe this all season in baseball, it's deferred money.
Oh God!
Because they have found a loophole in the system, and my God, if they exploited it. Glenn says baseball is dead.
Money. It's called deferred money. Listen. There's a reason why baseball teams do not do this. They're ruined. It's cool to do this now because the Dodger fans are happy, right? They're super happy. They know that they could win 2-3 championships in a row. Cool. That's great. What's going to happen to your franchise? later on.
Right.
When all these guys get old, when all these guys end up retiring, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to sit with your minor people thinking that you can make something out of them, but having to struggle because now you can't spend the money that you just deferred for the next goddamn 20 years.
You know
You're
who
rooting-
you might who you might be? You might be the New York Mets.
Like it's
yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's literally mind blowing that they have to defer money. Literally, I think it's like $1.2 billion in deferred money between eight players, and it's cool that you're signing superstar teams and you're doing what you're doing, but you're ruining your future. And there's a reason why other baseball teams don't do this. And then people back then saying, this is what the Yankees used to do back in the day. No, George Steinbrenner was paying these people that he was actually these superstar people. He was paying them because he had the money to pay them. He didn't defer them and say, listen, I'm going to ruin the future of my franchise because I'm going to get this person. That's not what George Steinbrenner did. The Dodgers are doing something that no other baseball team has done, and they think that other baseball teams are going to do what they're doing. No.
So Glenn thinks they're going to win 125 games. Jesus. So I'm going to look at their starting rotation. You can't not see it. I mean, well, who else in the West is going to compete, though? I mean,
it ain't the Padres.
The Padres would be the best chance. I know damn sure it ain't the Rockies. It ain't going to be the Diamondbacks, I don't think.
It's definitely not the Mets. They think they did something after
you're talking about the NL in general. You're talking about the NL in general. I was talking about just the West. Okay.
Oh, just the West. Oh.
Yeah, I thought just the. I mean, they're going to win their division again. I don't.
Nobody can compete with. Not even
the Giants ain't gonna. The Giants aren't going to.
The only thing that will take the LA Dodgers out, it's going to be injuries. If they can avoid the injury bug, that's going to be nasty. If they do get the injury bug, then now we're talking. Because you got to remember, Ohtani's not pitching next year.
No, he's pitching. He's
still coming off Tommy John. He'll bat. I mean, he'll still have a bat, but he ain't pitching.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Garcia is just now coming off Tommy John, and that was 2 years ago. And Verlander took almost 2 years when he had his Tommy John. I have yet to see a Tommy John that can go less than a year and a half before you make your – because you got to figure, even after you get recovered, you got to do some time in the minor league. You got to get your reps back up before you ever even hit the mound. And I just – if it does, it's going to play.
That's the tricky part, though. The tricky thing about that, though, Jay, is that Ohtani was still actively playing. The other guys weren't even active.
Right, but
look, I get it's a different motion swinging a bat
standpoint.
I
get the pitching standpoint. He's going to be pitching.
So this is an article that has just like their potential pitching rotation. They got Yamamoto, Glasnow, Snell, Ohtani, Sasaki. However, they still have some other guys in the roster. Who else do they got? They got like Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw. I think is still hanging out. Just their rotation is disgusting.
Yeah,
they have Bobby Miller. I think he's still there. I believe.
Logan, their rotation is so good that even if Kershaw, when he does come back,
Kershaw's old at this point. Kershaw ain't who he was.
Yeah, he's not coming back. His contract's done.
They might re-sign him for a year.
They're not going to re-sign him. He got his ring. He's done. He got his ring. He's done.
I feel like he would have retired, though.
He got his ring. He got the ring that he wanted. He got his 2020 ring, but that was a COVID ring, and everybody was, like, talking about that. But now he's got his ring in front of the fans and stuff like that. I understand he ain't do nothing, but he got your ring, bro. You did it. You got it. Congratulations.
He's 36. I mean, he has no reason to come back, honestly. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's no reason for you to come back and do something. You're going to just waste the roster space.
And also, we've only talked about the pitching for the most part. But their lineup, for God's sake, is even more just insane. When you've got Ohtani's your DH, you've got Mookie Betts, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Conforto, Edman, and Kim.
I'm not scared. Jay, we ain't scared. Bring that lineup over here. We strike those motherfuckers out.
Hey, listen. That's the thing, right? You can have the greatest pitching, but I do believe they're going to be in the World Series. But that lineup and those characters, if they get
it'd be a letdown if they didn't get to the World Series.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be there. Now the problem is who's going to face them from the AL? And Frankie, we got to step up our game, man.
Yeah.
We got to step up our game, Frankie. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I like my Astros rotation. We get a lot of people back. Garcia is going to be back in the lineup. So now we got Garcia, Blanco, Valdez. I mean, Houston still has a pretty good lineup. Now, are we going to be good enough to beat the Dodgers? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be fun to see what happens.
I like my starting rotation too. With Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Luis
Take
Gil,
good care of him, Frankie.
But we're going to take great care of him.
Hey, look, they're going to take care of him. We're going to take care of Gallo. Remember Gallo back in the day?
Oh, my God, Joey Gallo. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
He'd get you 30 home runs, but he struck out 170 times.
He's our number 2 ace, man.
Yeah.
So we'll end the show on a just why the hell would you say that type of moment. We're gonna talk a little bit of basketball. We're gonna talk about Scottie Pippen and a claim he made on a podcast. I'm looking for the quote here, and it is it's something, to be honest with you. I don't know why he would say this, but talking about just playing with Jordan, and we all know, look, Scottie won 6 titles, right? He believes that it would be the same without Jordan on the team. He says in a quote, "I still get my 6 championships." Jordan he says, "I still feel like I get my 6." Hypothetically, in what world does that happen?
In no world does that happen.
Look, the reason is because the reason he's saying that is because, as everyone knows by now, it's well documented. In '93, Jordan retired to go play baseball. During that season, the Bulls went 55-27 to finish out the regular season, which that's impressive. As Pippen is their leader. But did they win the championship that year, Jay? No. They lost in the second round to the Knicks in 7 games. The following season, Jordan wasn't there. They went 47-35. They lost in the Eastern Conference semis. And then in 95, they were eliminated by the Orlando Magic in that run they had, right?
Right.
And then Jordan came back, and we know it did in the late 90s. Why is he just bored? Is he just like, you know what? Why not have people talk about that, saying I'll still get my 6 if it wasn't for him?
Listen, this is what I gotta say to Scottie Pippen. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No comment. Yeah. Just.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I see it too. I mean, look, he's just smoking crack saying that, and I almost think that statement wasn't even meant to be taken seriously. I think that statement was more for clickbait, and I don't know why it's would be clickbait.
For sure.
But
that's
like clickbait.
That's like Penny Hardaway saying, "I would have gotten a ring without Shaq," or you know what I mean, or "I would have got here," or anyone on the Celtics back in with Bird and them saying, "Oh, I would have got it without Larry," and
everybody knows that ain't true.
No, it's just a bunch of BS. He said Scottie Pippen he can't be seen anymore. It's what Frankie said. But I mean, look, it was last year, wasn't it, Jay, where Scottie went on that whole tour and just, in a sense, kind of dissing Mike. It wasn't just him. It was him and Tony Kukoc, I think, and a couple of other former Bull players. Remember, because it was after the Last Dance documentary came out, and they were a little bit upset with how that made them look.
Well, if you don't like it, you should have been more important to your team, I guess, to where people would take you seriously.
And like I said,
when you look at people like Kukoc, and when you look at people like Scottie Pippen, those are just guys that are valuable to their team, but they're not the reason.
You're not the number one option.
You know what I'm saying? You're not the number one.
You know that kind of.
I really believe though Jordan still could have won without Pippen. I think Jordan still could have won without Kukoc. I mean, even Kukoc I think was replaced by Steve Kerr. I mean, they'll bring somebody in that can compliment. All you gotta do is compliment Jordan. Compliment. Don't take over. Just compliment Jordan. It'll be fine.
You compliment your star players, right? You look at LeBron over all the years and teams he's played for. You build rosters around him, right?
Right.
You look at Steph Curry. You build rosters around him, right? You get Clay, you get Draymond, you pick up KD also, so on and so forth. You build around your star guy. I mean, look at Milwaukee, right? They had Giannis, who was their first star in years. You build around him. You get Middleton and Lopez and all these other guys, and you win a championship. I mean, that's just what you do. That's just how it is nowadays. But like we've talked about before, we see rosters being built on multiple star players, and it ain't working, Jay, because a lot of those guys are good on-ball, single-ball players, but they're not great team players. Look at the Phoenix Suns, who currently are not, they're not amazing right now. They're not awful, but they're not near the top of the league like we all thought.
Exactly.
Look at the Philadelphia 76ers. They brought Paul George over to pair with Joel Embiid. Normally, you would think, oh, my God, you got him. You got Tyrese Maxey, who's a young bull. That's a good team on paper.
On paper, we always think things always look good on paper, but does it translate to the court or the field or whatever it is sport you're playing? Does it translate?
My best example: look at New Orleans Pelicans, right?
Yeah,
they brought over who? C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram to help Zion because he was their star of the future.
Right.
That ain't happening.
Hell no.
I mean,
there's a lot of things going on with Zion that he just doesn't take.
That's his injuries.
Zion just doesn't take the game seriously enough to really be a factor. Like if he took care of his body, if he put the kind of money into his body to make sure it's at top level, like for example, like LeBron does, if he took care of his body like LeBron or like Tom Brady, there's no telling how good he could be. There's no telling.
And I feel like we'll probably touch on that a little bit later in the week, just because it's an easy topic. But man, talk about just failed star potential.
Oh, for sure.
He was billed the next LeBron James. Jay, we remember those articles. We remember all the hype packages, all the great things he did. But he kind of reminds me of, in a sense, Jadeveon Clowney in the NFL.
Oh, for sure.
Because remember Jadeveon had that big hit in the college game against Michigan, I believe.
Oh yeah. His damn combine made him look like a freak.
Mm-hmm. And with Zion, he's a physical specimen. We know that. He was, at least at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing 360 windmills and getting points like it was no tomorrow. But like you said, he's just got in his own way. Or he got one fork in front of the other.
He's no different than look. Remember Jamarcus Russell? Zion got in trouble because he was in winning.
That was debunked, Glenn. That wasn't real, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But I mean, but take other athletes. Look, Jamarcus Russell, was considered to be a great athlete in college, and when he came to the pro level,
my favorite story, Jay.
Yeah,
my favorite just myth about that. And, I always hear people say they said, Jamarcus, we need you to go study some film tape and let us know what you think about whatever team we're playing this week. And so the Raiders gave him the VHS tapes or DVDs at the time. They were blank. And he came back saying, oh, they were great. I think this is what we can do against them. But they weren't, not on them. Just to show he wasn't even watching anything. And like, Jamarcus was dealing with some demons, right? With drugs and drinking and everything. But God, Zion's just a total just waste of just star potential, man. My God.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
If he would just invest in his body and his mind, like he does everything else, he'd be great.
I'll cap it here and we'll hold it for another day, but I'll hold it with this. How many years have we been saying this? This isn't year one. This isn't year two.
Right.
He's been in the league for many seasons now. He got drafted in 2019, 2020?
Yeah, how about that?
Oh my God.
For at least 5 years now.
Yeah, it's 5 years of the same thing of, oh, well, maybe this is the year he gets in shape. So he's 24. Right. He's going to be he's 24. He's going to be 25 this July. He got drafted in 2019, first overall. So he's been in the league 5 years.
Yeah.
And I mean,
when you live in NOLA and you can't say no to the food, you're going to get fat, and you're going to get fat quick. And that's kind of what's happening to him.
Just his Wikipedia page here. And he got drafted first overall in 2019. His accomplishments: all rookie NBA first team. All right, fine. And he's a 2-time NBA All-Star in 21 and 23. I mean, there's no playoff major victories, there's no MVP talks. I mean, I ain't saying he's Anthony Bennett, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. Wembanyama's had a bigger impact in one season than he has in 5. And he's on a crappy team.
Wembanyama takes the game a lot more seriously than what Zion does. Like, I think Wemby has an idea, and he also has a really good coach that enforces discipline there. Now, I understand that
Pop ain't been there in a minute,
but he was there, and I know that Pop has that culture in place that Pop doesn't have to be there for him to be held accountable. I think the Spurs do a really good job developing talent, holding them accountable, and all those kinds of things. Where I don't think the Pelicans had that same level of discipline in their organization.
No,
and I think Zion is a perfect example of not seeing the discipline in that organization.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. Like I said, we'll hold this. We'll table it for tomorrow, for later in the week.
Right.
But man, because we can just go all in on that. Oh man. Well, Jay, what you got? Final thoughts, man, before we wrap things up today and go on about our Mondays.
Oh no. In terms of final thoughts, hey, just make sure you guys continue to like, share, and subscribe to our stuff. It really does mean a whole lot to us. As a network, that's very valuable. You guys' input is very valuable. Comments, likes, and shares we told dear to our hearts. And so if you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, it really, really does help us out a great deal. And I want to say thank you to Mike Hughes for stopping by.
Yep.
Jonathan Holloway for stopping by. Glenn for stopping by. Frankie Hughes for exiting, but then stopping by. So
it was a great mic drop, It is a great mic drop moment.
Stopping by.
Yep. And like I said, stay tuned on all of our platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok is still there, Jay. We're still there. We're still rolling. We're gonna get an Instagram started up here in the meantime, so we'll announce that as that becomes more clear. And we're about to go very, very insane, Jay, in terms of just the content we're pushing out. You think we already have enough already, but we ain't scratched the surface. Not at all. Now, we got some stuff in the background we're working on. It's gonna be coming out soon. We hope y'all can hang out with us for all the shows we got, man. I mean, we're covering pretty much all the bases here with sports, entertainment. We're there also, and like I said, we just appreciate all the continued support that we've been getting over the years, and we'll continue in 2025. So for everyone watching today, appreciate it, and also enjoy the rest of your day. It's been a big day, just in the world, right? Got Inauguration Day, new president. We got MLK Day. Respect to Dr. King for all he's done for the world. And I know a lot of people got the day off today, so I hope you had a nice day off. And of course, tonight, 7:30. Don't forget College Football Playoff National Championship. And then football season in college will be over, Jay. Then we can talk about recruiting and NILs and transfers. That'll be coming down the pipeline soon. We'll go full shift in the NFL here this weekend. We got a couple more games left. And then, Jay, we're kind of in a lull period for sports for a little bit. Football will be over. Baseball still got a little bit of time left. I think pitchers and catchers report on about February 12th or so, a little bit before Valentine's Day. So have a little bit of time in between that. But we got NASCAR coming up here in a little while. Big Glenn's going to be helping us out big with that, man, for all the events he goes to. So we're going to be having that on the channel and just so much more. So once again, we appreciate it. Jay, of course, for stopping by today, and Frankie as well. Much love to both of you guys for all you do. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Guys, once again, enjoy all the continued support. Go and check out our link tree in the description. And until tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, we'll see you again on another live episode of